Coming out in May, Eternity Code seems to be a really interesting set, giving us some old legacy support like Barbaros, which now becomes an archetype, Invoked Madoshe, while supporting also new ones like Dragon Maid, Marincess or Midnight Orcast, and providing us new themes like Nemesis or Codebreaker, but most importantly, is giving us some new Deep Sea card. In this video, we will try to cover each of these new cards, talking about their strong and weak points. So let's start with Deep Sea Artisan, a level 1 monster, which says if this card is added from the deck or graveyard to your hand by the effect of a water monster, you can reveal this card. Look at your opponent's hand. If this card is special summoned, you can send the top card of your deck to the graveyard, then target one level 4 or lower water monster in your graveyard, except of course Deep Sea Artisan. Special summon it but negate its effect. You can only use each effect of Deep Sea Artisan once per turn. So, when I first read this card, I thought it was pretty useless. Well, I mean, yes, looking at your opponent's hand is good and all, but you have no effect on top of that. However, after some testings, I found out it is pretty cool actually, thanks to its second effect, which is like a monster reborn. So you can special summon it with Diva, Prima Donna, 1-for-1, if Neptabeast of course has already been summoned, but since you don't want to see it in your hand, I recommend to play it in just one copy. So the second card we received is Deep Sea Sentry. If this card is sent to the graveyard to activate a water monster's effect, you can make your opponent banish one card from their hand face up until the end phase. So if this card is special summoned, you can send the top 2 cards of your deck to the graveyard, then target one level 4 or lower water monster in your graveyard except Deep Sea Sentry, add it to your hand. You can only use each effect Deep Sea Sentry once per turn. It's okay. When I read it, I didn't have any particular thought, if not, oh, this card is really garbage, and I still think so. Okay, you can make your opponent banish a card when discarded and adds back resources to your hand, but I think this is not useful in any cases. What only ideal situation could be, for example, if discarded with Minstrel in order to banish 2 cards, so that Prima Donna can use both of its effect to special summon and to shuffle one banished card. Well, otherwise, I do not see any particular reason to run it. The next card is probably, is the best monster support we received from this new archetype, Deep Sea Minstrel. So you can discard this card and one water monster. Look at your opponent's hand and banish one card from their hand face up until the end phase. So if this card is special summoned, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard, and then target one level 4 or lower water monsters in your graveyard, except of course Deep Sea Minstrel. Place it on the top or bottom of a deck, so you can only use each effect of Deep Sea Minstrel once per turn. So what you can do basically with this card is actually look at your opponent's hand and banish until the end phase any entrap they have. So imagine this being used along with Dragoons. So you have a Caught by the Grave like card and a Search for Diva, which you can resolve safely. Well, of course, if they don't have multiple entraps. Plus you have 3 informations about what they play and what they have in their hand, which is pretty strong. Another important point when we talk about Minstrel is that it is also an easy Dragoon trigger, unlike Megalo, which requires 2 monsters to discard. You can just ditch Minstrel and Dragoons, meaning that it also facilitates your Mulling Glacier plays. So its second effect is quite useless, I guess, but it may come in handy if you want to recycle Dragoons or Artisan, which can be special summoned once again. So moving on, let's talk about Prima Donna. So your opponent cannot target a synchro monster that uses this card as a material with monster's effect. So you can only use each of the following effect of DC, Princess, Prima Donna once per turn. You can target one of your opponent's banished card. Take one level 4 lower water monster from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. And if you do, add that target to your opponent's hand. If this card is sent to the graveyard, you can target one banished card, shuffle it into the deck. So what I really like about this card is that it is a generic level 7 synchro, meaning that you can easily special summon it with the Strudo or stuff like Tatsunoko plus a unused Dragoon in your hand, for example, Kora Dragon and so on. And its effects are really good in my opinion. So the first one makes the synchro monster that used this card as material untargetable by monsters, which is pretty good if you are considering to use this to make, for example, Dragite, or the Dementia level 8 synchro monster, or Savage Dragon. So the second one is actually, I think it's actually the best, since it gives back, yes, banish card to your opponent, but to special summon a level 4 or lower water monster from your deck, meaning that we finally have an accessible way to special summon Neptabis from the deck. However, this card can bring out some other interesting choice monsters, which can be, for example, combo extenders like Artisan or Swap Frog, or even floodgates like the Barry Statue of a Torrent or Testudo Ernamen. So the third effect is also nice, being able to shuffle one banished card when sent to the graveyard, so basically when used as a synchro or link material. So this card has basically no weak points, we can say. It gives back, of course, the banished card to your opponent, but in order to special summon from the deck, so I think it's fair, I guess. I'm not sure how many of these we should run, but I'm currently playing it at 1, since I do not have many rooms in my extra deck. And now let's move to my favorite card from this archetype along with Minstrel, which is Deep Sea Aria. So we finally have basically a Rota for Sea Serpents, and this is a really cool tool actually, because it says banish one water monster from your graveyard, add one level 4 or lower Sea Serpent from your deck to your hand. You can only activate one Deep Sea Area once per turn. So we can add anything we need actually, like Neptabis, Infantry, Diva, Minstrel, Dragoons, but just by banishing a water monster in the graveyard. So even though it is clear we should play three copies of this card, deciding to run just 2 is understandable as well, since you do not want to see it in multiple copies in your starting hand. Now let's move to the new field spell card. This card is coming out in Rise of the Duelist actually, so not in Eternity Code, meaning that we will probably get this in July, I guess, but I don't know the TCG release date. So this card says, yes, it is treated as Yumi. When this card is activated, you can place one water monster in your deck on top of your deck. So once per turn, you can target one water monster you control, increase its level by 1 or 2 until the end of this turn. So once per turn during your month phase, if you synchro summon a water monster water synchro monster, you can look at your opponent's hand, and if you do, banish one of those cards face up until the end phase. So it shares the same effect with all the Deep Sea cards, to work with opponent's banished card. And when I saw that a field spell was revealed for the archetype, I was really excited. But after I read this card, it seemed really bad to me actually. But as for Artisan, after some testings, I realized this card is actually, well, pretty cool. The first effect is pretty cool actually, since it lets you stack and draw cards like Lapis or Tears, which it cannot be searched in any other ways, if not with Salacia. And the second one enhances your single plays by changing levels, while the third one is probably well, the best. Having to banish card, one from Minstrel and one from this card, means that if you rip an entrap from your opponent's hand, you can choose at least you can choose the least problematic card to be given back in order to activate Prima Donna's effect. So I feel it's one of those cards that need to be played at 3 or 0, because you either want to see it in your starting hand or you do not want to see it at all. So here is a demonstration on how to use all the 3 effects from this card. Okay, so let's pretend we run, for example, Armageddon Night, which is actually something I'm considering, to be honest. And let's dump with Armageddon Night the Strudel. So now the Strudel will be summoned back, and we make, of course, Needle Fiber. Needle Fiber bringing out Minstrel. Now we use Needle Fiber to special summon Link Cross and make 2 tokens. So now we activate the new Deep Sea City, and we stack Abyss Tears on top of the deck. Now we use the second Deep Sea City effect to bump by 2 Minstrel level, making now level 5. So now we use Minstrel and 1 token to make Colored Dragon, and now we use Deep Sea City's third effect, to banish a card from the opponent's hand. Now we use Colored Dragon and the remaining Link Cross token to make Prima Donna, and we use now the Colored Dragon effect to draw a card. Now we can draw, of course, Abyss Tears, and then we use Prima Donna's effect to get back the banished card and special summon Neptabyss. So now we have basically Neptabyss and Tears ready to be used only by having the field spell card and a Armageddon Night, which is really, well, I think this is really cool. So we can we can have a lot of plays, a lot of new way to play the deck with this card, I guess. But it is something that is still need to be tested out. So here's the ratio I'll be probably ending up playing. So 3 Minstrel are needed if you want to resolve safely stuff like Neptabyss or Diva, and as I said, they are really useful to trigger Dragoons. So if you start, for example, with Minstrel and Dragoons, you have a really safe way to start your combo. As I said, I play just one Artisan because while it works really amazingly in the combo, you do not want to see it in multiple copies, or you don't want to see it in your starting card at all, because you need to bring it out with stuff like 1-for-1, Prima Donna, or Deep Sea Diva. Of course, as I said, I like the free area since I want to maximize the access to starters, but as I said, playing a 2 is fine as well. So I'll be probably playing free Deep Sea City since I really like what the card does, but it's something, as I said, it still needs to be tested out more. And 1 Prima Donna since, as I said, I do not have any room at all for the second one. Of course, we will be playing 2 Divas, and I'm sure that we will get the third one from the ban list in April. We reached the end of the video, guys, and in the next one we will cover Gen X Engine and its strong and weak points in Master Rule 5 water decks. So if you guys enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it, leave a comment and subscribe to the channel for more water videos. So see you next time.